Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Teens Talk Movies. I am your host, Trevor Matson, and with me, as always, we have Thomas. Thomas, how you doing?
I'm doing good. A bit of a slower news week this week, but still a lot to talk about on this show.
Yeah, definitely, not a lot of, or definitely not any major news, but there's a lot of news.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. We have intro music now, everybody. We have intro music. Atticus unfortunately could not make it. We traded Atticus for intro music. That was the deal that we made. But yeah, Thomas, how have you been doing this week?
I've been doing good. Just watching a lot of films like most weeks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited to talk about a lot of this news that we have here.
For sure. Yeah, I watched Ace Ventura, Pet Detective for the first time. I watched Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time. I rewatched Grand Budapest Hotel, which I know Thomas is not a big fan of, but I love that movie to death. And then I also watched 2014's Godzilla because I haven't seen any MonsterVerse films. But we got Godzilla vs. Kong next week, I believe Wednesday.
I think it's the 30th, whenever that is. So yeah, it'll be Wednesday.
It'll be a Wednesday or a Tuesday.
Tuesday. I'm not sure. One of those days.
One of those. Time is irrelevant. It has no meaning. But yes, plenty to talk about today. Yes. So Godzilla vs. Kong. So its theatrical release date was March 25th, and then I can't find its HBO Max release date because I know some people have been able to see it.
Yeah.
In theaters. March 31st is its HBO Max release date. Yeah, it's a Wednesday. Okay. So Wednesday, March 31st. So I have 2 more days to watch Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'm excited because I really love 2014's Godzilla. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did.
Yeah, it's pretty decent film, to be fair. I think, as I said to you backstage, they do get worse, and Godzilla King of the Monsters I really wasn't a big fan of, but who knows what this next one will be like.
Yeah, it's been getting largely positive reviews, which, speaking of, that is our first news story. So we have some early reviews from people who have been able to see it in theaters, and they are largely positive. Its Rotten Tomatoes, I think the last time I checked, was 77.
Which is pretty decent.
Yeah, that's very solid. It has a 75 on IMDb. I mean, it's it's showing up pretty well. Yeah, it's at a 78 right now on the tomato meter, which I believe is a big improvement on previous films in the MonsterVerse. But Thomas, are you excited to see Godzilla vs. Kong next week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually excited when most films come out. So,
yeah.
But this one, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think the trailers look pretty good, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially since it said there is an improvement on the last film, which is a good sign.
Yeah. So the films in the MonsterVerse have been pretty consistent Rotten Tomatoes wise. Godzilla 2014 got a 76, Kong Skull Island got a 75. Godzilla King of the Monsters dropped down to a 42. But this one's right back, kind of keeping par with 77, so definitely a good recovery. Also, people have said the great fight scenes. The one thing that I've been hearing is the human interactions have not improved, which again, I have not seen Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters. Because in 2014's Godzilla, I quite enjoyed the human side of the story. But again, I can't speak fully on it as I have not seen.
Yeah. Something I will say is that the fight scenes have always been pretty consistent throughout. They've always been of a high quality. it is more the story that often dips slightly and often isn't so solid. But hopefully that will improve with this one. Yeah,
for sure, for sure. Also, so one question I've had is, it seems to like they're trying to build a cinematic universe, but it seems to switch cast because like 2014's Godzilla cast does not reappear in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Am I correct?
No, they don't. It switches.
Okay.
I don't remember. Some of them might cross over. I'm not too sure, but definitely the main ones. Definitely they don't. Are not in Godzilla King of Monsters.
Which is kind of disappointing because I really liked Aaron Taylor Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen in 2014's Godzilla.
Yeah, they
Um,
were pretty good.
was there like an explanation given, or is this like it's a different setting? Or
I don't exactly remember. It was 2019. I haven't rewatched
yeah,
that film, but I don't remember really. I think it just sort of drops you into a different story completely. So the cinematic universe isn't as well built up or established in that case. But
okay. It would be nice to see them come back, but regardless, though, I'm excited to dive into a whole new universe, a whole new world. I am very, very excited. Speaking of, I mentioned I watched Ace Ventura, and Sonic the Hedgehog. I can't remember if I've said that on the show already. I know I've definitely said that to Thomas.
you did say that on the show already. Yes.
I did say it on the show. Okay,
it doesn't matter.
I have a terrible short-term memory. But Ace Ventura 3, we don't know if it's a sequel or a reboot, is in the works at Amazon Studios with the writers of 2020 Sonic the Hedgehog attached. So, Thomas, what are your first thoughts?
Well, Ace Ventura films that I've never been a really fan of, but Sonic the Hedgehog I did quite enjoy. I thought it was a nice surprise. So to see them bring the writers on for Ace Ventura 3, it should be pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't a massive fan. I haven't seen When Nature Calls, but I wasn't a massive fan of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. It's definitely very outdated.
Very, yes.
But I feel like they could be self-aware about that, and work well with it because Amazon, I know it's a weird comparison to make, but Amazon just did Borat Subsequent Movie Film, which is a major awards contending comedy.
Yes.
So I am trusting Amazon with comedies. I mean, granted, Coming to America wasn't great, but they seem to be going down like major, like not just like small comedy films, but like giving major, I shouldn't say blockbuster comedies because that doesn't sound right, but like, I guess big budget comedies, like big with major actors involved.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I thought that Jim Carrey was really good in Sonic the Hedgehog. He was written really well, and like you said, I actually like surprised myself and enjoyed Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't think it was great. But it was fun. Like it was
fun. That's the word I would use to describe that film. It was light-hearted entertainment, really.
Yeah, and like it wasn't like too long. It didn't like it was really well paced. Like it didn't need to be a 2.5 hour movie. All it needed was like its hour and a half, and it used its time well. So I'm excited to see what they do. Obviously, they will definitely update quite a bit. But I was saying, I would like them to be like self-aware because with Jim Carrey's kind of persona, you could definitely pull off like super like self-aware jokes about the previous film.
Almost, I think that was one of the pros of Sonic the Hedgehog. I think Jim Carrey's written really well in that film, and I think he was one of the best parts of that film. So if they get him right here as well, they could be onto a pretty decent film.
Right. And I honestly think that in the world that we're living, this crazy world that we're living in right now, we kind of need just kind of like the goofy Jim Carrey back again. Which it'll be fun to see. This isn't going to be like, top 10 on my watch list for 2022 or whenever this comes out. But like, I'll see it. I think it will be fun as long as the Sonic the Hedgehog writers can carry on with what they did with Sonic the Hedgehog. Moving on, we got some more news on Zack Snyder's Justice League. This movie has been in movie news for the past 5 years, and it will continue to be in the news probably for the next 5 years. It won't go away. We're probably just gonna get a story every week talking about Zack Snyder and
Yes.
Justice League. But we got two stories here. So, Zack Snyder's Justice is Great, the black and white cut of Justice League, will have even more scenes. I think I read somewhere 9 extra minutes will be added to the film. So how do you feel about that, Thomas?
Again, as I think I mentioned last show, it's not on the top of my watch list.
Yeah.
The 9 additional scenes, if they're done well, the only thing is that Zack Snyder was allowed complete creative control of his 4-hour version. So if he didn't deem them necessary in that one, I don't know how really important they will be. They probably are going to feel quite tagged on, but who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also just curious to see how black and white will change the aesthetic. Like, I think, like, imagine. So this is just random pitch that just came to mind about 3 seconds ago. But imagine the Lighthouse style Aquaman horror movie taking place like on this island, shot in all black and white, 3x4. Like, I know I kind of want like something like that, but for that Icelandic village scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I don't know. Like, I black and white can definitely change the aesthetic of things because certain movies definitely wouldn't have been as impactful. Like, I feel like going back to the Lighthouse wouldn't have worked as well if it was in color.
No.
So I'll be interesting just to see how the black and white nature of it will change the aesthetic and the feel of the film.
Yeah.
But speaking of, there was something that Zack Snyder was not allowed to do. So Zack Snyder's Justice League was supposed to feature John Stewart, aka Green Lantern, in the Martian Manhunter role, but Warner Brothers said they had their own plans with the character and blocked it. So they still didn't let him do everything that he wanted.
No.
So people still get angry.
Yeah, we'll get another Zack Snyder's Justice League cut in about 5 years.
Start the campaigns now, everybody.
Yes.
We'll call it Zack Snyder's Lantern cut. I don't know. But would you have liked to see Green Lantern show up in the Martian Manhunter role?
I mean, I don't think it would make much of a difference considering the role that Martian Manhunter did play was pretty small. It would have been a cool cameo. I mean, I'm not too familiar with comic books, so the role that they play doesn't make much of a difference to me. But yeah, it would have been cool to see, especially given we might be getting another Green Lantern film in the future. Who knows? So it might have teased that, which would be interesting to see.
I believe there was a HBO Max show announced sometime last year.
Okay.
So I think
there's been rumors about Green Lantern shows and movies since the original Green Lantern film. So
yeah. Well, I think going back to that original Green Lantern film, which not a lot of people want to go back to that, but I do think it would have resonated with audience more because I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League with my dad, and he had no clue who Martian Manhunter was. He was like, I mean, people would know him from like the animated series, but like if you just watch movies, you would have absolutely no clue who that guy was and why he was important. Whereas Green Lantern, like everybody knows the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern film. So I feel like it could have been more of I feel like it would have worked better for the non-comic book reading audience or even just like the general audience. But I don't know. Also, who would you have liked to have seen play Green Lantern?
Play Green Lantern. Well, there's a lot of rumors, or there was, about Idris Elba taking the role of Jon Stewart's position, which that would have been cool to see. I think he's a great actor. I mean, he seems to be rumored for literally every part ever.
Idris Elba for everything.
Exactly.
Just spell his
Who
name
else?
right.
I'm just thinking. No, I think Idris Elba is.
Idris
That's the
Elba.
big one that's been pushed for the role of Jon Stewart.
I would have liked to see Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. You want to see him in everything, though.
But is that wrong?
That's not no. That's fair enough.
And Joe Cancer is Mike Kalinowski. But yeah, no, I Michael B. Jordan would be fun. I know Tom Cruise has been rumored for a while. I would not have liked to have seen that.
No.
Maybe as like an older like mentor Lantern, but not as like the main Lantern. I don't know. He just doesn't give me Green Lantern vibes. Yeah, I don't know who else I would have liked to have seen play Green Lantern. I mean, my thing is just Michael B. Jordan, but you know, like you say, I want him in everything.
Yes.
But yeah, moving on to some more remakes, reboots, and sequels. Nicolas Cage and John Travolta said they would be interested in returning for Face Off 2. So, Thomas, have you seen the original Face Off?
I have not, but I know that it is a pretty infamous film.
Yes, I have not
seen
either.
it.
So
No.
I have neither of us. I was hoping to watch it this week, but instead I watched Muppet Treasure Island. So which was a great choice. But I love the Muppets movie so much.
Yeah, same. A Muppets Christmas Carol holds a special place in my heart.
That's like top 25 movies of all time for me.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. I don't know why. But like Kermit and young Kermit singing about Christmas just makes me happy. So
it makes me think about Christmas again.
I know. But yeah, no, I love the Muppet movies. But anyways, you know, I haven't seen the original Face Off. I know a lot of people love it. It'd be fun to see a sequel to it. I mean, I feel like every 90s and 80s film is getting sequels now, which, you know, fair enough. But yeah, would you see Face Off 2 if it happened?
Yeah, I'd definitely see it. I'd like to see the first one at some point. It's on my watch list. Just need to get around to it, I guess.
Yeah, the tricky thing is it's not on any streaming service. So
no, exactly.
Yeah. Hopefully it can get onto some, even if it's just like on Prime to rent or something, then I'd probably get around to it. Another one, Father of the Bride 2 was announced that I think sometime last year that it was getting remade. And now we have our first cast member, Andy Garcia, I believe, is playing the Steve Martin role in 1991's Father of the Bride. And it's going to be a Latinx remake of Father of the Bride. First thoughts on this happening?
Again, it's another film that I haven't seen, not too familiar with. You know, Andy Garcia is an actor as well who I'm not too familiar with. I've seen him in the Ocean's 11 and whatever films, but I'm not too familiar with his work outside of that. And yeah, I'm interested to see it. I will obviously see it when it comes out, I guess, but it's not a project that I'm too invested in, I guess.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I think it'd definitely be cool to see a Latinx remake of Father of the Bride. Definitely be fun to see. Definitely would be some fun twists on the original film. But again, this isn't something that I'm dying to see. Andy Garcia, I mean, he's a good actor. Like you said, I've seen him in the Ocean's films, not too much else. Like looking through his credits, he was also in like Geostorm, The Untouchables, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, The Mule. So, I mean, definitely some films in Internal Affairs, but like nothing too major. But no, I mean, he's definitely I've liked him, and I haven't not liked him in everything that I've seen him in. So for sure, I'd be happy to watch it. So yeah. Moving on to the next story. This one makes me happy. We have a new DC Comics film adaptation announced. Zatanna, who we originally saw in 2016 Suicide Squad. It is going to be directed by promising young woman's Emerald Fennell. everything that she does. Anything I will watch. Promising Young Woman was her feature film debut, so this is going to be her second film, I believe. I love that movie, so like I'm already on board with this. DC, you have my money. I will go watch it. But what do you think about Zatanna getting her own feature film?
I think in the Suicide Squad she didn't have much to do, really. So she was sort of a non-entity, I guess. But if she's allowed time to breathe and to be fleshed out a bit more, yeah, I'd be happy to see it. And yeah, as you say, Emerald Fennell, you've really praised highly of her work. So yeah, I'm excited to see what she does with it.
Yeah. I like I said, I'll see anything. Zatanna getting her own film is interesting because I don't believe she's supposed to be in The Suicide Squad, which we will talk about that trailer later.
Yes.
But I don't believe she is in that film.
No.
I really don't know Warner Brothers' plan with how they're going to tie stuff in. I really don't. I don't know if this is supposed to be standalone like the Joker, or if it's supposed to tie into the Suicide Squad, or if it's spin-off of 2016 Suicide Squad, or I really have no clue what this is going to
I don't think you're alone now. I don't think anyone knows what is going on with DC. But
I mean,
yeah, I'm excited to see their most recent films. They seem to be on a upwards progression, so hopefully this carries on with that.
I mean, Wonder Woman 84 wasn't
that
good.
I forgot about that. But yeah. Other than that,
fair enough. Yeah. You are not alone in forgetting about that movie. So, but no, I mean, I really don't know what they're doing. I hope this isn't another DC project that's announced and then that they cancel a month later. But assuming this goes through and assuming DC has a sense of understanding of what they're doing, I'm very, very excited for this.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any casting news on Zatanna. I can't remember who played her in the original one, but I don't believe she is coming back.
Okay. That makes it seem a bit more like it might be a standalone like Joker. If the original actor's not coming back.
Yeah. Again, that's not confirmed, but I feel like we would have heard that she was coming back if she was.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah, overall though, like I will watch this movie. Absolutely. Yeah. Also, I find it interesting that the two top, regardless of female directors, but just two of the top Oscar contending directors of this year, Chloe Zhao and Emerald Fennell, are both going into comic book movies with their next projects. Chloe Zhao heading into Eternals directly after Nomadland. Also, it's that she's adapting Dracula right after Eternals, which makes me excited. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely interesting because it doesn't really feel like Zatanna for Emerald Fennell makes a lot of sense. For Eternals for Chloe Zhao doesn't make a bunch of sense to me. But I'm still excited for it. Like it doesn't fit her typical style, I guess. But she brought the pitch to Kevin Feige. It wasn't originally on the slate. She said, "I want to make this movie." Gave Feige her pitch. Feige said, "This is the best pitch I've ever heard." I'm not making that up. He literally said that. He said, "This is the best pitch I have ever heard. We're gonna go ahead and make this movie now."
Wow.
So if she has a vision of what she wants to do, I have complete faith in Chloe Zhao. Speaking of new films, though, we have a new film get some casting. A film called The Lost City of D, not Z, which is very confusing. Not a sequel as far as I can tell, but it's been described as a romance novelist and a model embark on a jungle adventure. So it seems like we're getting a lot of with like stuff like Ace Ventura coming back. It feels like we're getting a lot of like, I guess, classic style comedies. Like 80s and 90s style films. Even if like this, they aren't remakes, because this totally seems like an 80s adventure movie.
Yeah.
That's just being made today. And this cast. So Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum are going to play the titular romance novelist and model. We don't know who's who, I think. But they will be the two main characters. And Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter himself, has been cast as the villain.
Yeah.
And I think he like kidnaps them at some point, from what I read from the synopsis. So, based off of the cast and the synopsis, are you excited for this movie, and will you see it?
Yeah, I'll definitely see it. It might not be my exact cup of tea. Those 80s adventure films have never really resonated with me, I guess. But the cast seems pretty decent. I always like seeing Daniel Radcliffe and stuff. I think he's a very good actor, aside from the Harry Potter films. The other two, Channing
Yeah.
Tatum, Sandra Bullock, are not two actors I follow that closely, but they're always decent when they pop up and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I'm just glad Daniel Radcliffe is getting more work. Because it's been kind of disappointing after the Harry Potter films. He's just been kind of ignored. Like, he's still done stuff.
Mm.
And it's not like, he needs the money. But
Yeah, definitely
uh
not.
uh I'm just happy to see him in bigger films that the public is actually going to go see, rather than smaller,
Mm.
because like he's been great in smaller independent films, but the public just hasn't been in the public's eye, as far as his performances. So I'm hoping this pans out well for him. And yeah, Sandra
Yeah,
Bullock and Jane Tatum, sure. Like,
yeah,
again, like you, this isn't like I have to see this now, but like it'll be fun. I'll
it
probably
might be
watch it.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving right along. So, um, we just had the Snyder Cut released. Warner Brothers has confirmed they are not in any way developing the Ayer cut, and David Ayer responded on Twitter to that statement with a crying emoji.
Mm.
So, do you want to see the Ayer cut? Because he claims that there was a lot of studio interference and that he wasn't allowed to make his full vision of the film. Do you want to see the Ayer cut, or could you not care less?
To be honest, it's the latter really.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, whilst Justice League, um, it felt like there was more of a plan coming off Batman v Superman. Suicide Squad, there doesn't feel like a plan at all to that film. I think there was this rumor that they gave him, I think, 6 weeks to write the film. So I don't really see how he could have much of a plan for it. It did feel kind of rushed. So yeah, I'm not too sad that this isn't happening.
I think the other thing is with Justice League, like it didn't look like, and it still doesn't look like we're getting more Justice League films.
Mm.
We have a Suicide Squad film coming out this year that we just got a trailer for.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're lacking Suicide Squad content. We're getting another movie that, quite frankly, looks a lot better.
Yes.
Whereas, yeah, with Justice League, like we didn't have anything. Like 2017's Justice League kind of killed the franchise, in the direction that it was heading. So I don't need this. If it comes out, I'll watch it for this show.
Yes.
But I really don't mind that. And like it wasn't like there wasn't any outside circumstances that, like with Justice League, there was just so much going on, and the actors didn't like working with Joss, and they wanted to work with Zack. And obviously, a terrible thing happened within Snyder's family, so there was just so many other circumstances going on with Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it doesn't really feel like there's like with David Ayer, it was just the studio messed with this movie, which happens to
So
many people. So it just kind of feels like he's jumping on a bandwagon because well Zack Snyder got his cut, so why can't I get my cut?
Yeah.
Like it's very, very different circumstances. So I'm not too upset at all that this isn't happening.
No,
I honestly couldn't care less.
exactly.
So yeah, moving on though. We got more news on the Steven Spielberg directed autobiographical film. We covered the news breaking that it was going to happen with Michelle Williams as his mom on our first episode of Teen Set Movies News. I still don't know if I'm gonna come up. We really need to figure out a proper name for the show.
Yes.
But Seth Rogen has joined the cast, and he will be playing Spielberg's favorite uncle. Isn't Seth Rogen just all of our favorite uncle? Are you are you happy to see this casting choice, and does this make you even more excited for the film?
Yeah, definitely. Seth Rogen, he's he's a very good actor in my opinion. Like even when he's in a bad film, like when he was in The Lion King, he was the best part of that film. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm very excited to see him in it. Definitely.
for sure, for sure. And look at this cast already: Seth Rogen, Michelle Williams. Like this is only going. Like this cast is only going to get better.
Yeah, definitely.
I
Who's
mean,
going to play Spielberg though? That is the big question.
that is the big question. Um, get
Don't say
get
Michael B. Jordan.
that. Just imagine that movie. Michael B. Jordan walking up to Seth Rogen. Hey, Uncle, how you know this doesn't work? This doesn't work. No, cast Jacob Tremblay.
Jacob Tremblay. Yeah, that'd be a decent choice.
The only child actor I could think of.
Mm.
So, but no, I'm very excited for this movie. Again, I think like you said on a previous show, anything that Spielberg does, I
Yeah.
will watch.
Yeah.
He is, I think, the most famous director in the world. I think the most well-known director in the world. I think his work is the most well-known. Like,
Yeah.
I think if you ask people, like people could argue like as far as active directors, like people could argue Martin Scorsese or like I don't think he's really active anywhere, but like
I
Francis
think
Ford
if you
Coppola,
ask a non-film fan to name a director, the one they will say would be Spielberg.
right?
So
And even if you said how many Scorsese films can you name, how many Spielberg movies can you name?
yeah.
Like I mean, even just like all the Indiana Jones movies, the original three Jurassic Parks, E.T., Close Encounters of the
Yours.
Third Mind, Jaws, yeah, Third Mind. That isn't right, but whatever.
Yeah.
Close Encounters of the Third Mind. That's like an Inception style.
Mm.
There's another one, Christopher Nolan. He's another really famous
Yeah.
active director. But again, like I mean, people know he did like The Dark Knight, but like I don't know if people know like he did like in like Inception and Interstellar, but I don't know if people know that he did like Dunkirk, or, like The Prestige, or Following, or Insomnia, or Memento,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I really do think that Spielberg is the biggest active director in the world, with Scorsese and Nolan as close seconds.
Yeah. I
But
think add Tarantino to that conversation
oh,
as well too.
Tarantino, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But again, I think just for like the average audience member, people are going to know Spielberg movies way better than Tarantino,
Yeah.
even if that isn't with people like film fans.
Mm.
But yeah, no. But I guess the point is just Spielberg is a massive director,
Yeah.
and everybody's going to watch whatever he does. And this is a really interesting concept to see a director as big as him do a autobiography film.
Mm.
But I am excited for this, and this cast is stacking up nicely. I'm very excited to keep covering this as we keep getting casting news.
For sure.
Next week they'll announce Michael B. Jordan is playing Spielberg. So next up we have a spin-off of the Hawkeye show has been reported. So feature a deaf Native American hero named Echo, also known as Maya Lopez. The characters frequently work with Daredevil in the comics, and she even took up the mantle of Ronin, who we saw Hawkeye take up the mantle of at the beginning of the Avengers Endgame. She took up the mantle of Ronin for the large portion of the 2000s in the comic books, and she works with Daredevil fighting against the Hand and Hellspace very frequently. So Thomas, I know you aren't a big comic book reader, but this sounds interesting also to get the first Native American hero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Would you be excited for this?
Yeah, I'd definitely be. I mean, it's Marvel, so I'd be
Yeah.
excited for anything. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not familiar at all with the Eternals, but that is one of the films I'm really looking forward to. And
Right.
yeah, I guess the big story is that it is the first Native American. And yeah, that should be cool to see. But as you say, yeah, I'm not too familiar with the character, but still excited to see what happens with it.
For sure. And this being reported as a spin-off of the Hawkeye show leads me to believe that we will get introduced to her here,
Yes.
which I'm assuming we're going to get introduced to her as Ronin, and it will be a lot of Hawkeye dealing with um like what he did as Ronin, because like we're assuming he was like that for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So uh like it would definitely be very interesting, not to get too spoilery into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we also see Bucky dealing with a similar thing throughout the show. So it's very, very interesting. But I'm like you said, it's Marvel, so I'm excited. More than excited. Um, but yeah, moving on to the next story, we got another Marvel story. This is a big one. Black Widow has officially moved back to July 9th, and it will be premiering on Disney Plus Premier Access, along with being released in theaters. What are your thoughts on this?
I think I sort of called it last episode. I said it's probably going to be released onto Disney Plus, but if it's alongside theaters, I'll definitely watch it there because like, that is my preferred means of watching cinema, and it's cheaper, I guess, for one person going to see it rather than paying 20 or so quid. I think is what it's costs.
Yeah, and so the other thing with this is I think pushing it back. Granted, it is pushing it back a month,
Mm,
but or 2 months, sorry, to July. But it does definitely give people time. Hopefully, most of the world, or at least U.S. and U.K. will
mm,
be vaccinated in like Europe and North America. I don't know how vaccines are being distributed in other parts of the world, um, but hopefully most people will be vaccinated. Um, and by that point, because May would be cutting it close for a lot of people. And it would be unfortunate to just essentially exclude people who wouldn't be able to go to the theaters safely or just had other health conditions.
mm,
So I think pushing it back to July definitely gives people time to get vaccinated and hopefully getting the variants under control and everything. And people now still do have the option of watching it on Disney Plus. Granted, it's $30,
mm.
but you do have that option if you want to see it. And it has been announced that it's $30. They could do $20,
Okay.
and lower the price. So it isn't officially $30. But
Okay.
overall, I'm hoping that this is the last time that they push it back. Also, the rest of the Marvel slate has been rearranged. So this took Shang-Chi's date. Shang-Chi is now pushed to September, I think, but then we're still getting November and December as Eternals and Spider-Man No Way Home, I
Wow.
believe.
Yeah. So we've got a lot this year then. Four, which
Four
is
films.
more than any other year.
Yeah,
So far it's been three.
plus lots of Disney Plus shows as well. We already had WandaVision.
Yeah.
We have Falcon Winter Soldier. After Falcon and Winter Soldier, we'll have Loki. Then the What If show. Then we will have Hawkeye and Miss Marvel are all coming out this year. So 6
Wow.
shows. Plus, we don't know how Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and Morbius will tie in to the MCU because there's been rumors that those will tie in. So we could, if those tie in, we could potentially have 6 films and 6 shows this year.
Yeah, which would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely insane. The other news along with this is Cruella, the live action. Well, like the third live action 101 Dalmatians film, because there's 101 Dalmatians and 102 Dalmatians in the 90s. But Cruella has also been moved back. I can't remember what it got moved back to because that was supposed to come out in April, I believe. but it has also been pushed back. And oh wait, I didn't realize that was Emma Stone. Wow. Sorry, I was just looking at the Cruella cast. But that has also been moved back a couple of months and will also be premiering on Disney Plus simultaneously. Okay. But overall, I think this is definitely the right move. Yeah, so Cruella has been moved back to May 28th.
Okay.
But yeah, overall, I definitely think those were the correct moves.
Yeah.
Moving on though, Michael Keaton is now undecided on if he will return as Batman for the Flash film due to concerns with COVID-19 and having to go over to England and shoot. Yeah, he doesn't want to come visit you, Thomas.
No.
Michael Keaton does not want to come visit you. No. I would like to see him return. Scratch that. I would love to see him return, but in the end, it is his decision with whatever he feels comfortable with.
Yeah.
If he does come back, though, how would you like to see him used?
Oh, I wouldn't want to see him overused because I feel like that might, well, not ruin the first two films, but detract from it because it's not with Tim Burton, so it's going to be a very different style of film anyway. But yeah, I'd like to see him maybe as more of a mentor role. So take Ben Affleck's Batman and push him a bit further and make him a bit older, which would make sense given Keaton's age, I guess.
Yeah, so the other interesting thing with this is it's been rumored that we're going to get Flashpoint with this, which is where Flash messes up all the multiverses and they all collapse. Mm-hmm. So maybe we get him in through there. Like,
maybe.
The thing would be is if they did that, it would make more sense for it to be a cameo, but they're making a massive, like he's having to go out and it seems like he's having to go out and shoot for a while. So it kind of detracts from that theory. But maybe multiverse breaks, because there was also rumored that Ben Affleck was coming back for this. It wasn't confirmed, but that was rumored at one point. So I really don't know what they are doing, but going back to earlier, who does know what DC is doing? But if Michael Keaton comes back as Batman, I will be a happy camper. So if again, I feel like I'm saying this for a lot of things, but if it happens, I'll be happy that it happens. Yeah. But again, if it doesn't, it really does come down to what he feels comfortable with. Because like you said, he is getting older, which does put him at a higher risk. To have to shoot a film. I don't know his exact age. Let's check. He's 69 years old, so he's definitely at a higher risk. So, I mean, I don't know how I'd like to see his Batman used. Because the multiverse would make sense. I do like your idea of just essentially recasting Ben Affleck with that character. It might be too much of a jarring age gap because I don't think Ben Affleck Ben Affleck's only 48, so it'd essentially be a 20-year age gap. But I think they could make it work, especially if he was in the suit most of the time. Michael Keaton would. The problem would be Michael Keaton is lacking the physicality of Ben Affleck.
Yes.
Very, very much so. So, because they're two very different Batmans. So I really don't know what they are going to do, but anything with Michael Keaton as Batman, I'd be interested to see. Moving on, we got two massive casting news pieces for DC films. Dame Helen Mirren, will be playing the main villain Hespera in Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I am not familiar with this character at all, but what do you think about Helen Mirren playing the villain in Shazam?
I think this could be very interesting. Shazam 2 is a film I have not heard about for about 6 months, probably. It's sort of just dipped under the radar. But with this news, it seems like the project might be back up and running, and it should be interesting to see a person like Helen Mirren play a villain in a comic book film, especially one like Shazam, which is off the more campier side of comic book films, to put it that way.
Yeah. I was just checking. So this character is not actually from the comics. It's an original character.
Okay.
Which that's very interesting because I can't think of a Marvel or DC film that has used a major character not based off of a comic book.
No.
At least with the MCU and DCEU. So I know it'd been talked about, like Kevin Feige mentioned at one point that he wanted to make an original superhero for the MCU. But this is interesting. I mean, Helen Mirren just gets her own character. She gets it all. But yeah, having Helen Mirren play the villain, I mean, I'm definitely here for it. I'm curious to see how they will use her and how she will be written, because I don't know how Helen Mirren fits into the tone of Shazam: Fury of the Gods. At least if they stick with the tone of the first film. So it'll be definitely a task for the writers. But if they can pull it off, I mean, Helen Mirren is like a DC villain. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. The other big casting news, this is definitely a big character from the comics. Dr. Fate has been cast as James Bond actor Pierce Brosnan. This cast already, Pierce Brosnan, Dwayne Johnson, yes. Thoughts on Pierce Brosnan joining this film?
He is an actor who I'm really not familiar with at all. But again, if it's going to be, if they make it work, if it could be interesting. It could be interesting. I feel like I've been saying that a lot this episode, but you know, if they make it work, yeah, I'll go and see it. I mean, this film is a film that is slightly more on my radar, so I'll be definitely checking it out, whatever. And yeah, it feels like a decent casting if they can make it work.
Yeah. So this is similar. So Doctor Fate is similar to the Sorcerer Supreme in Marvel. So it's been the moniker of many different sorcerers. Not aliens, androids, or wizards, but sorcerers that have came down like a long descending line. So the character appeared in the TV show Smallville, which I have not seen. But so he has made an on-screen appearance before. But yeah, he's essentially he's very much compared to Doctor Strange.
Okay.
In the Sorcerer Supreme. So yeah, I mean Pierce Brosnan's a great actor. I'm curious to see how he will play off of Dwayne Johnson. Also, because Shazam: Fury of the Gods and Black Adam are supposed to have some kind of tie-in, I believe.
I think that's correct, yeah.
So, but just putting Zachary Levi, Helen Mirren, Dwayne Johnson, and Pierce Brosnan in a room, if they were to all meet, my money is in their hands again. Yes. That would be great. Those are, I mean, they're four incredible actors. So, yeah, I mean, Dr. Fate, like, I believe is I'm not as familiar with DC. Sometimes a villain, sometimes a hero. How would you like to see, like, would you like, because Black Adam's also kind of an anti-hero. So I don't know, would you like to see Pierce Brosnan as like a hero of this film, or see him as the villain opposite Dwayne Johnson?
I kind of like the idea of him being an anti-hero to Black Adam's anti-hero. So two sort of messing sides. I think that could be interesting rather than just having a hero or villain. I think that could be fun.
Yeah, definitely. I actually really like that idea, having two anti-heroes play off of each other. And Pierce Brosnan and Dwayne Johnson, I think, would be two pretty perfect people who have that dynamic. Moving on, though, Sebastian Stan, in an interview when promoting Falcon and the Winter Soldier, was asked if he would play young Luke Skywalker. He said that he would if Mark Hamill gave him his blessing. Do you want to see Sebastian Stan play young Luke Skywalker in some capacity?
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't know where he would do that. I think Star Wars are trying to move away from the Skywalker saga. So I don't really see where he would fit in. They might make a show later down the line that could incorporate him. But yeah, I think he would be probably the best choice for a young Luke Skywalker if I was had to pick. But yeah, as I said, I don't know where he would fit in, I guess.
I think even in just a cameo capacity, similar to the finale of Mandalorian season 2. Like we have the Rangers of the New Republic show. Like there's lots of stuff that is. I mean, they're right in the perfect time period. So like there's lots of different chances, I guess, for him to show up. I mean, he's Luke Skywalker. Like he's going to be doing a lot of things. So I think it would almost feel unrealistic for him not to be appearing in certain instances. Yeah, and like even to just like if you were to have a cameo of Luke, Han, and Leia all together, and even Chewie, like you have the cast. If you do Sebastian Stan as Luke, Alden Ehrenreich still there as Han Solo. You have Billy Lord play Leia. As she did in the Rise of Skywalker flashbacks. And then you still have Yunus Swatimo to play Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew's replacement for the latter of the sequel trilogy and solo Star Wars story. So I don't know. I feel like there's definitely chances. I would love to see Sebastian Stan play Luke Skywalker. But yeah, and if they decided to do a series down the line, I think that could be really fun. Just like even adapting like the comic book run, following Luke, Han, and Leia as they, I guess, like just following their adventures between the events of the original trilogy and post-original trilogy. I think that could be a lot of fun, and obviously Sebastian Stan is open to it. So yeah. Final piece of news. This would be one where Atticus would be better to talk about it because I know nothing about video games. But Ghost of Tsushima, which is a recent video game, is getting a film adaptation of by Chad Stahelski, director of the John Wick films. So, essentially, would you like to see a fantasy action movie directed by Chad Stahelski? Is all I have to go on.
But yeah, I really do enjoy the John Wick films, and they sort of have that sort of, I guess, video game vibe to them. So I don't think it would be too dissimilar to a lot of the John Wick films. Obviously, they are more grounded, but again, I don't really have any connection to these sort of projects. Mortal Kombat as well, they just sort of go over my head. But if you can make a solid action film, fair enough. And as shown, John Wick, the director, he can make a very good action film with John Wick.
Yeah, so I just pulled up. So here's like just the opening paragraph of like a plot synopsis of the game. So in 1274, a Mongolian invasion fleet led by Khotan Khan lands on the Japanese island of Tsushima. Jin Sakai, geez, Japanese names are hard to pronounce, joins the rest of the island's local samurai, led by his uncle Lord Shimura, in an attempt to repel the invasion. The battle ends in a disaster with the samurai army killed. Lord Shimura captured, and Jin grievously wounded and left for dead. Jin is found and nursed back to health by Yuna, a local thief, who informs him that most of Tsushima has already fallen to the Mongols. Jin storms Khotan's stronghold at Castle Kaneda in an attempt to rescue Lord Shimura, but is defeated by Khotan and is thrown from a bridge. Realizing that he cannot defeat the Mongols by himself or with traditional samurai fighting tactics, Jin begins scouring the island to recruit allies and learns fighting techniques to aid in his quest to rescue Lord Shimura. So there's your basic plot synopsis. Does that change any of your views, even though I butchered that entire paragraph?
Not really, to be honest. As I say, as long as he can make a good action film, which he has proven to be able to do, I'm on board.
Yeah, completely agree. That doesn't. I mean, it sounds like a compelling story, but not anything that we haven't. It isn't reinventing the wheel, but it could be a fun film. I mean, video game movies traditionally are not good,
No.
but who knows? I mean, Chad Stahelski's done a very good job with the John Wick films. He clearly knows how to direct action sequences, which is what a video game movie really needs to carry itself. Because a lot of video game films don't have great plots, but they can definitely.
No.
They tend to rely on the action sequences, and if those are bad, then it just really falls apart. But he knows how to direct action, which means that this at least most likely will not be terrible. But we have the Suicide Squad trailer to review and Falcon and Winter Soldier to review, so we will take a quick ad break right here, and then we'll come back for our reviews. We'll see you guys in just a minute. Okay, guys, Trevor here from Teen Stock Movies. I'm interrupting the show, okay? But it's important, because I got to tell you about Anchor. So if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's how I do it, and I like easy. First of all, it's free. I also like free. There's creation tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a whole ton of other ones. Which is also good, because it's easy. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's why I'm recording this ad, because I like money, and I hope you do too. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Okay, let's go back to the show. You're probably done hearing from me. Okay, bye. All right, guys, we are back, and we are going to be talking about the trailer for The Suicide Squad. Thomas, first reactions to this trailer.
First reactions. It looks very James Gunn-esque, which is a good thing. Yeah, and it looks very, very different to the original Suicide Squad, which is sort of the way the direction that the DCU seems to be going. If this is even part of the DCU, which we don't know yet. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but yeah, it looks a lot more fun and it looks a lot more lively and upbeat, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, the only character really returning, or actress, I guess, is Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. But this cast is stacked.
Yes.
My first reaction is Sylvester Stallone is King Shark.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
But like this cast is absolutely insane. Like I'm just like, let me read off this cast. Just going to like the end scene here. Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, Peter Capaldi, David Dastmalchian, Daniela Melchior, Michael Rooker, Alice Braga, Pete Davidson, who I love, Joaquin Cosio, Juan Diego Boto, Storm Reed, Nathan Fillion, Taika Waititi, Stephen Agee, Sean Gunn, Flula Borg, Malin Ng, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Tinashe Kaji Sebolden, Jennifer Holland, Julio Cesar Ruiz, with Sylvester Stallone and Viola Davis. What a cast.
Yeah.
What a insane cast. That's crazy. But this movie is fun. John Cena's character really worked for me. I was apprehensive because he hasn't shown to be great in film in the past. But no, and this gets me excited for the TV series that's supposed to come out this year as well, for based on the Peacemaker character with John Cena playing the role. But no, like Sylvester Stallone as King Shark is perfect. I love the whole opening scene where they were going to rescue Harley and Harley already broke out.
Yeah,
and, well, I can go back inside if you want to do it.
Yeah, that was
but yeah, no, I mean, it definitely seems. this definitely feels like a reboot of the Suicide Squad series. Like it doesn't. I guess if you know what I'm saying, like I don't. Unless it's just like a completely new team, but like it seems like they're essentially just setting up the stakes again because they were setting up the chips again. They were setting yeah. But as you said, it's from the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn, as mentioned in the trailer, which is great. Like Guardians of the Galaxy are great. Those films are great. And yeah, seeing him take on the Suicide Squad, like yes, there's not a lot as far like he's able to build teams so well.
Yeah, this is like the perfect film for him because he's has often a very dark sense of humor, which will fit with this R-rated film compared to what it was in Guardians of the Galaxy. So
yeah,
it's like the perfect film for him.
I don't think he was able to fully do everything that he wanted to with Guardians of the Galaxy because
exactly.
it's through Disney. But this is just kind of him being allowed to let loose. Like this is what Guardians of the Galaxy would be if it wasn't through Disney. So yeah, I mean everybody looks great in it. Like I'm just ready to have a fun time with these characters and fall in love with these characters and then watch James Gunn kill them all off. Because I'm almost positive that's what's happening.
I'm hoping the ways that they die are so much more fun. Like he can have so much creativity with the way he kills them off, rather than just exploding the chips, which was very boring.
Because it also seemed like in 2016's in 2016 Suicide Squad they were going for a PG-13 rating, which is not what a Suicide Squad film needs to be.
No,
a Suicide Squad film needs to be rated R. Like I'm sorry, that's how it has to be made for it to work with the characters presented in the film. That's just how it has to be. But yeah, no, I'm very, very excited for this. It was a long trailer, 3-minute trailer.
Yeah,
but this just looks so fun, and also Sylvester Stallone is King Shark. And also when he goes up to the guy and says "nom nom," like that.
That was just.
And then rips the guy open, and like I like how he's like an actual shark.
Yeah,
like they didn't hold back. Like this movie is not holding back. It is unapologetically itself. And people either love it or hate it, but I think that I'm gonna love it.
Was Taika Waititi in the trailer?
I do not know.
Because he's another one I'm really looking forward to seeing in the film, but I didn't see him in the trailer, so I was just wanting to know.
Yeah, so it's rumored that he's voicing Starro, like the big star thing at the end.
Oh, okay.
He says that he isn't, but that's like the big rumor right now.
Right.
But yeah, no. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this. A lot of the humor really works for me. And overall, like this movie just looks like it's gonna be a fun time. So it comes out HBO Max and theaters on August 6th, and August 6th cannot come soon enough. But that's only 4 months. Like I'm so happy to be getting more content, I guess. Like contrary to last year, it just felt so like empty. Like there were still so many great films, but like just as far as like superhero type content, it felt very, very empty. So I'm very happy to see it essentially return. But yeah, overall, what do you rate this trailer? Like, how excited are you to see this film out of 10?
How excited? I'd say go with 9. There's still some things I want to see before I need to see it, but like I feel a desire to see it. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know James Gunn can handle teams well, but this is like a
Yeah.
massive cast, so it's going to
Mm.
take a lot of balancing to make all the characters work together and just not make it feel like half of them are just kind of wasted and didn't need to be there.
Yeah,
And I
just
trust
because I was
James
talking about
Gunn.
that is my worry with
Yeah,
Spider-Man No Way Home. So I
yeah,
hope they don't make it too messy. I want to see the cast breathe and have some time, which we didn't get in the Suicide Squad in 2016.
yeah. I totally agree with you. We need. And also with Spider-Man No Way Home, with bringing back all of these Spider-Man cast members and characters, it is necessary for them to be able to have the time to develop, especially with everybody being introduced in this film. So we don't have a runtime yet. I mean, if it's 3 hours, then like it'll make sense. But also, do I want a 3 hour Suicide Squad movie? Maybe. But if it's there's always the risk that it turns out like this, because 2016 Suicide Squad had a great trailer too, and it didn't turn out well. So there's always the risk it doesn't turn out well, and I don't want a bad, like if a movie's bad, I want it to be an hour and a half. Like get it over with. I don't want a 3 hour Suicide Squad if it doesn't pan out. So they have to be, the longer your runtime, the more confident you have to be in the film. So we'll have to see how the runtime is and see, because like there's like an insane cast and I want all of them to be able to have their time in the spotlight. But that is our review / discussion on the Suicide Squad. We are very, very excited for it. So now, Thomas, ready to talk Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, spoilers for Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2. I thought about doing non-spoiler reviews, but like I don't want to, so we're just going to do spoiler reviews. So Thomas, first immediate reactions to episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I'm really enjoying this show. I think this is definitely an improvement on the already great first episode. I did really enjoy seeing Bucky and Falcon together. And a standout for me was John Walker as the fake Captain America. He was really great in it. And yeah, he was definitely not the direction I thought the character was going to go in, but definitely a welcome one.
Yeah, I loved Bucky and Sam's chemistry in this. Like it was so good. Like they like Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan just seem like they have such a good rapport and are able to bounce off of each other so well. That like any scene they're in together is entertaining. Like the therapy scene worked so well. Just because of their ability to bounce off of each other. Also, one thing that I've been noticing with these, so like the opening scene of this episode with John Walker alone in his like high school locker room with, I'm presuming, his wife or girlfriend. A scene like that would have been cut out if this was a film.
Yeah.
But with these Disney Plus shows so far, like if you look at the screen time between Wanda and Agatha Harkness in WandaVision, I think Wanda had a bit more, but it was fair. Like Agatha Harkness had her fair share of screen time.
Yeah.
And I think John Walker is going to be getting the same thing. Like with these Disney Plus shows, because they aren't restricted to a 2 to 3 hour runtime per film, it's giving us time to have some time with the villains and to get to know the villains, assuming John Walker is supposed to be the villain, which, sticking with comics, I believe he is going to be. I think that the Flag Smashers are going to turn out to be like the good guys, and John Walker is going to end up being the villain of the show. That is just me, because we also got mention of the Power Broker, and we don't know who the Power Broker is yet. But in the comics, there are big ties between John Walker and the Power Broker, and them scheming and stuff. Also, Battlestar. It was fun to see Battlestar character in the comics, sidekick of U.S. Agent, which is John Walker's character in the comics. So lots of fun comic references. The one that I was very, very excited about was seeing Isaiah Bradley, because his grandson that he was living with is the Patriot, a member of the Young Avengers. I think we're getting it, guys. It makes me so excited. We're getting Kate Bishop in the Hawkeye show. We already got Wiccan and Speed in WandaVision. We have, and I've been saying for a while, the Patriot's going to get introduced in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it looks like we're getting them. Cassie Lang has already been introduced as a teenager in Avengers Endgame. Like, I think we're getting Young Avengers, guys, and it makes me so happy. But yeah, it's definitely very interesting. It was fun to see. Crap! Why am I forgetting her name? Enfys Nest from Solo, Erin Kellyman. It was fun to see Erin Kellyman show up in this as Carly Morgenthau, I think was her name. I know it was Carly. No. But yeah, no, that we got more fleshed out with the Flag Smashers. I just think these shows work so well in the MCU just because of how much they're able to flesh out everything.
Yeah.
But moving along, let's just start off. So what did you think of that the opening scene with John Walker? And what do you think of the character of John Walker as a whole throughout this episode?
Yeah, weirdly they made him quite likable, which was not the way I thought he was going to go. There was a few moments where he did sort of go a bit darker, but as a whole, he was definitely not portrayed as a villain throughout the episode. Whether he will continue this sort of journey later on, he might go to be the villain, as you say. But yeah, I think, as you said, he was really developed and fleshed out in especially the opening scene, which we wouldn't have gotten, but we did get it, and it really did add to his character.
Yeah, for sure. The other interesting thing that I pointed out to you before we got started with the show was that when there was the fight scene on top of the trucks, which was really well done, like amazingly choreographed, they played the Alan Silvestri Captain America theme, which I found very interesting. Because I still believe that he is the villain of the show. But who knows? I mean, we really don't at this point. I know there's a lot of moving pieces so far.
Yeah.
Because you have the Flag Smashers. And a thing that I found interesting, the music and the lighting in the second to last scene where Erin Kellyman's character heads off with the Flag Smashers, and one of their members is killed. How the lighting and the music was used portrayed the military in that instance as the villain. In that scene, which is interesting because, I mean, John Walker says himself, like, we are the military. We are, so I know it's a very interesting direction that they are taking it. With everything, like I said, there's so much going on, but let's focus on Bucky's arc now throughout this film. Or a film, not episode.
TV show.
What did you think of Bucky in this?
Yeah, I thought there wasn't, because they had Bucky and Sam together for most of the episode. This time, there wasn't as much development, I guess, as there was last episode. But I think I enjoy how he was really arguing with Sam about giving away the shield. It really did portray both sides, and you sort of agree with both of them to a certain point.
Yeah. And again, a lot of those scenes like we might not have gotten in a film version, and it's working really really well, fleshing it out. But yeah, where do you stand on the issue? You think Sam should have given it?
I don't think he should have given it. No, I think the way Endgame ended meant that Bucky almost allowed Sam to take it. Like there was always a question before Endgame, who was going to take the shield? Would it be Bucky or would it be Falcon? And Captain America gave it to Falcon, so it was sort of his responsibility to keep it and take up the mantle.
Right, and the other thing is, like you said, Bucky kind of allowed Sam to take it.
Exactly.
Like there was that nod,
Mm.
in Endgame. So it almost, I'm sure Bucky feels betrayed by it because he kind of, you know, it definitely seemed like him and Steve talked beforehand, and
Yeah.
they could collectively came to the decision. Because like Sam, when Steve didn't come back from the time travel, Sam was freaking out, but Bucky
Yeah.
knew exactly what was going on. It seemed like Steve had told Bucky everything that he was going to do, before he really did it, and it seemed like Bucky had agreed with his decision. So it makes me curious. It definitely makes me curious. But like I said, their whole dynamic.
Yeah.
I love Sam's interaction with the kid when the kid calls him Black Falcon.
Yeah. That was fun.
Uh, like I know they're just so charismatic together. It
Mm.
works really well, and I think maybe that's because John Walker's character isn't very uh, charismatic. Like he's very like serious, but
Yeah.
not in a like. So he's likable, but he doesn't feel likable as U.S. agent.
No. Yeah,
Or
I agree. Yeah.
like it almost feels like he's trying too hard to be likable and be Captain America. Um, which would be interesting because like the we could have an entire show or movie just about this guy.
Yeah.
But we don't. It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So that I don't I don't know. Like I keep on saying this, but there's so much going on in the show. Like they're setting up so much, and like we only have 4 episodes left. This is only a 6 episode show.
Mm.
So I don't know, but why don't we talk about Carly? Just I have the name, Carly Morgenthau, Aaron Kellyman's character, who seems to be the leader of the Flag Smashers. So we got a little bit more development with them. So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, again, there's still a lot to find out about them, but what we've seen so far, they seem like they've been pretty interesting. She's someone who, at first glance, you wouldn't expect to be the leader, which I think was a nice subversion. You think, oh, but then you realize she's the leader, and that's pretty good. And her dynamic, I guess, with the guy who dies at the end. I don't think we really got too much context as to who he was. I don't remember. But yeah, I enjoyed her. I enjoyed her in this, and interested to see where she goes.
Yeah, and I think that scene, like, just there, even without saying much, that their acting said a lot about what
Mm.
the loss meant. Also, the second time within the past couple of years, she's been this surprisingly the leader of an organization with Enfys Nest and Solo.
Yeah.
But no, I'm interested to see where it goes. Like I said, it almost seemed like they were portraying them as like the good guys at the end of the episode. So I really don't know. I'm curious to see where the alliances fall between all of the characters. Also, that they are all super soldiers because we don't know. We know it came from this power broker. We don't know who the power broker is. My theory right now is it's Zemo, but we don't know, and we don't know how many more super soldiers there are. But speaking of more super soldiers, we got to meet Isaiah Bradley, who, as I mentioned, setting up is his grandson being the Patriot. But what did you think of the character of Isaiah Bradley? Because I thought he was very, very well done.
Yeah, totally agree. I think he was very well done, and he was someone who, again, not a comic book fan, so I don't really know him as a character. So coming from an outside perspective, he was pretty well established, and I thought he was acted, but I'm not too sure who he's portrayed by. But I thought that actor did a great job playing him.
It's Carl Lumbly.
Carl Lumbly. Okay.
He's in Doctor Sleep, I believe.
Okay.
He
Oh
played
yeah.
Dick Halloran. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I thought that they immediately set up and established that character. So in the comics, they tested how the characters in the comics is they tested the super soldier serum on black men before they got their candidate from the military. So when it killed most of them, but Isaiah Bradley was the only one to survive. And then once it worked on him, then they did it with Steve, which definitely, if they go that route, puts not a great light on Howard Stark and Dr. Abraham Erskine. But I'm curious to see if they go that route, because I think it's definitely it definitely works for the times we are in, and it would definitely be a very powerful story. And how his grandson Eli Bradley, who the Patriot, I think I said Isaiah Bradley the third, which is wrong, but no, Eli Bradley. So he got some of the super soldier blood in him from his grandfather. So he isn't like to the level, but he has some of those genes, I guess you could say. But I mentioned Zemo. What do you think? Why do you think Sam wanted to go see Zemo in Berlin?
I think probably just because he is one of the characters that he knows, and we've seen how Zemo works. We've seen what he did in Civil War, and he could play an important part in discovering or knowing. He could already know about the Flag Smashers. I think his introduction was a little over the top and a little dramatic, but it was still fun to see him again.
Yeah. Did you catch the Star Wars Easter egg with that scene?
No.
He's in cell 2187.
Oh, okay.
Which is Leia's cell, and then also Finn's stormtrooper number. So, yeah, a fun little Easter egg there. I saw it was like 2187. I was like, that's in German, but I know that. But yeah, overall though, final anything else you want to add? Any theories for next week's episode? Also, I'm sad that Red Wing got destroyed.
I would like to add, it's odd that we still haven't seen Sharon Carter. I said this even last episode. We didn't see her there or here, and especially since she was advertised as obviously not one of the main ones, but definitely playing an important part in it. It's interesting we haven't seen her yet.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised. Because like you said, she was a big part of the like she's third billed. She's billed above Wyatt Russell as John Walker.
Yeah.
Because the billing goes Sebastian Stan, then Anthony Mackie, then Emily Van Camp, then Wyatt Russell. And then Batroc is supposed to be in here, which we haven't seen Batroc, I believe.
No, I don't think so.
Because he was another character as the I guess villain at the very beginning of Captain America: Winter Soldier. He was supposed to be there, and then Zemo. So there's a couple characters they haven't introduced, and especially with only 4 episodes left. I really don't know when we're going to get Sharon Carter. Maybe she's with Zemo, like maybe she's working at that facility in some way. I don't know, but I really do want Sharon Carter in there. Also, I wonder how she feels that Steve ditched her for her aunt.
Yes.
I'd love
Yeah.
I'd love to hear her thoughts on that one.
I feel like that might be a point that they sort of skip over.
Yeah, that would be a bit awkward to say the least.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like what's the Jack? Is it like Jack Nicholson? Oh, there's like a rom-com like that. Like this guy's dating like this woman, and then he like leaves her for like her mom.
Mm.
I can't remember. It's Jack Nicholson, someone I think. Regardless, we don't need to look at that right now. Final any ending thoughts on the episode, and what would you rate it out of 10?
Ending thoughts. I thought, as I said at the start of this review, I'm really, really enjoying this show. Probably it's hard to judge because WandaVision, each episode was so different, and the first two episodes were a bit weaker, I think it's fair to say. But I am enjoying this more than WandaVision up to this episode. But yeah, it would be very interesting to see where it goes, and I'd probably give this, I'd say an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5. There's still a lot to go. There's still 4 episodes, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, 4 episodes is a long, even though it feels short. Like that's still 3.5 hours, assuming each episode stays at like about 45 minutes. So I'm curious to see where they go. There's a lot of characters that are already introduced that are very interesting. And like you said, there's still plenty. Like we still have Zemo, we still have Batroc, we still have Sharon Carter. There's still a lot, and then we still don't know who the power broker is. So, but overall, I feel like they've been building it up really well. I think maybe next episode we really get into the plot of everything, and that these first 2 episodes were really just set up. But yeah, also each episode has ended kind of with a cliffhanger of some sort, teasing a character's introduction. Because we had U.S. Agent at the end of the first episode and now Zemo at the end of this one. So I'm curious to see if they keep that trend. Overall, though, I'd give this a solid 9 out of 10. I really, really am loving it so far. Because I Captain America: The Winter Soldier is my favorite MCU film. So it's this,
and Civil War's mine. So
yeah, this definitely feels in the same vein. But everybody, that is it for the show. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening to the show. We really do appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week. Hopefully Thomas can still make it, and hopefully Atticus will be back for the show. But until then, goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.